Breaking news, lightly touching a quarterback will cost you the same amount of yards as punching a quarterback in the tummy. Or dropping some schoolyard yo mama jokes. What is NFL officiating? Really? Welcome to That's Good Sports. I'm Brandon. I am adding a new segment to the best and worst episode called Angry Runs Perna. It will be a 10-part series documenting every time a pro football player has explosive diarrhea on game day. The NFL is so confusing right now that it makes me want to puke all over myself like this Sacramento Kings fan. And no, that is not Will. And yes, we are covering all of the bodily fluids today on the best and worst episode. I'm glad the NFL has an extra game this season because I think we will need it to figure out who the hell is actually any good. I think I can figure it out with just 3 questions, though.
3 questions? Jeez Louise.
Okay, George.
Screw you guys.
Let's have some fun.
Sundays are not fun.
You're right, Mike. Sundays are not fun. It's good sports. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel, especially if you like football, and especially if you like buying my coffee. BenchwarmerBrew.com. This week we're doing a Black Friday sale. 25% off my coffee. Perfect gift for the holidays. You know somebody who is a coffee head, a coffee junkie, someone who likes to get high on coffee? Ugh. This makes a great Christmas gift, and this week, it's on sale, BenchwarmerBrew.com. All right, best and worst, starting with Dolphins Jets. Worst? This is one of the dumbest plays of the year. You're talking about the Jets, Brandon. You're gonna have to be more specific. Okay, Joe Flacco getting crushed, and the Jets and Dolphins keep fumbling the ball to each other. It feels like no one really wanted to win this game, and that's how it played out. Best, Tua Tagovailoa is succeeding in spite of the offense around him, hitting 27 of his 33 passes and firing 2 touchdowns as the Dolphins have very quietly won 3 in a row. The Finns are now 4-7, which makes them the 3rd seed in the AFC. Washington football team versus Panthers. Best, credit Cam Newton for throwing a touchdown on his first drive back in Carolina to DJ Moore. Best, Cam Newton galloping for a 24-yard touchdown run, looking like the Cam of old. But the Cam's storybook return would not have a happy ending. Should have stayed with Robert Kraft if you wanted happy endings, Cam. Worst, remember when everyone said the Play 60 kid grew up to be Mac Jones when the Patriots gave Cam Newton his Robert Kraft earlier this season? Sorry, I mean full release earlier this season? Well, that commercial has been revised. Again.
I promise to exercise and eat right.
Don't forget 60 minutes of play a day, right?
And I'll grow up to be big and strong like you.
Fuck them kids.
I'm playing the NFL.
Fuck the kids.
With all the attention Cam Newton received, this perfect throw from Taylor Heineke to scary Terry McLaurin barely got noticed on Sunday. And if Heineke ever gets really good in the red zone, he could be a long-time starter in the NFL. He did manage 2 field goal drives to win this game for Washington. Fitting that Cam Newton would lose in his much hyped homecoming to Joey Sly, who was cut by the Panthers and had his very own Sly homecoming.
Become your mom's favorite player.
Fuck them kids.
Colts versus Bills. Best, after calling Jonathan Taylor the best back in the league, he did not make me look stupid. Taylor didn't have a rushing touchdown through the first 3 weeks of the season. Now he leads the league with 13 and shaked and baked his way for a receiving touchdown here, giving him 15 total TDs on the season. Not a best, not a worst, but a just damn ridiculous Jonathan Taylor's final stat line, 204 total yards and 5 touchdowns against one of the best scoring defenses in the NFL. He scored more touchdowns than any team had this weekend. Worst, after a Stephon Diggs touchdown got the Bills back into this game, Isaiah McKenzie tripped over the turf. The turf monster got him, and he fumbled the ball, reminding us the ground can actually cause a fumble when nobody touches you. And Buffalo failed in all 3 phases of the game. Worse, the Patriots are back in first place in the AFC East. The game was already out of reach, but it's nice to know the refs didn't watch yesterday's video about fixing officiating in the NFL. This was called roughing the passer. If you're gonna touch a QB, make it count, defenses. That's my advice to you. Lions versus Browns. Worst, everything. Tim Boyle's college stat line, though, may be the worst for any college QB to make it to the NFL. I've seen college wide receivers throw more touchdowns than this guy. And his final stat line in this one, 77 passing yards and 2 picks. Best, Jarvis Landry is officially a dual threat quarterback, knowing when to take off with the ball versus throwing it into coverage. Jarvis has 9 fewer injuries than Baker Mayfield right now, so maybe keep doing this, Cleveland? Worst, let's talk about Jonah Jackson getting an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty for talking about Jadeveon Clowney's mom.
Become your mom's favorite player?
It happened between the 3rd and 4th quarter and essentially erased a 14-yard gain by DeAndre Swift. Nobody heard it or saw it, but it happened. Apparently, he said, "Yo mama so ugly, she could only convince an NFL official to fuck her." And that drew a flag. Worst, DeAndre Swift heard Darius Slay had as many touchdowns as his team in the last 4 weeks and changed that by ripping off a 57-yard touchdown run. Worst, Baker Mayfield played through his very well-known torn labrum, plus a knee injury and an ankle injury. Meanwhile, Jared Goff couldn't find the strength to play through an oblique injury. One oblique injury, Jared? Obliques are what you work in beginner's Pilates, Jared. 49ers versus Jaguars. Best, Rayshawn Jenkins getting ejected for punching Jauan Jennings in his helmetless face. Sadly, this was all the fight the Jags had in them. Worst, this game started with the 20-play drive by the 49ers that took up over 13 minutes and ended with a field goal. That's like jacking off for an hour and climaxing with a shark. Worst, Trent Williams giving it his all on this touchdown pass attempt, thrown his way in the end zone for nothing. It's been a tough couple weeks, though, for offensive linemen trying to get in the end zone, but Williams gets an A+ for effort. Somehow the 49ers ended up with 30 in this one. I'm guessing Deebo Samuel and George Kittle had something to do with it. Oh wait, Deebo was the 49ers leading rusher? Holy hell, nice. Texans versus Titans in an upset. Best, Ryan Tannehill's tackling effort on this Camu Gregor near pick 6. Did he stop Hill? No, but slightly touching his shoulder pad definitely, well, okay, it definitely didn't do anything, but nobody will be bitching about Tannehill's effort this week like I had to endure all last week with my poor Teddy, 2 gloves and no tackling effort, Bridgewater. Best, Tyrod Taylor going full Air Jordan to give the Texans their first touchdown on the road since week 2. Tyrod had 2 rushing TDs in this game, but don't let that get you excited if you're a Texans fan. Just 107 passing yards. Which QB with less than 110 passing yards impressed you the most? Carson Wentz or Tyrod Taylor? Worst, the Titans are so injured. They got a touchdown from 4th round draft pick Dez Fitzpatrick, who they cut in training camp after jumping 17 spots to draft him. So yeah, Ryan Tannehill's first 4 interception day in the NFL, again, not surprising. Surprising that he didn't throw 4 picks while Adam Gase was his coach, though. Packers versus Vikings. Best, Justin Jefferson. Dude is good. Finished with 8 catches for 169 yards, nice, and a couple of tugs. The Packers have been winning despite key injuries all season, but I think not having Jair Alexander in this game to man up with Justin Jefferson was simply too much. Best, Aaron Rodgers is so good, he tried and failed to call a timeout right before throwing a lead-taking touchdown to Davante Adams. The Vikings defense let Rodgers take the lead back twice in the final 8 minutes of this game. Best, the conclusion of this game. Justin Jefferson actually made Kirk Cousins look clutch as the Vikings took a 7-point lead with 2 minutes left in the affair. Best, Rodgers is so good, he tied the game back up 1 play later. 8 minutes, 16 seconds left on the clock. Is that too much time for Aaron Rodgers? All he needs is 8 seconds to score. Worse, the Packers could have had 2 game-winning interceptions on the Vikings' final drive and ended up with none. Darnell Savage had his game-ending pick overturned. And again, my simple rule of if it looks like a catch, it should be a catch would fix this. Now the Vikings win on a game-ending field goal. Rodgers had the highest QB rating of the weekend, threw 4 touchdowns and still lost. That's how screwed up the NFL is right now. Saints versus Eagles, best. Kevin Hart booing Saints fans during the NFL pregame.
Boo! Boo! Yeah, that's right. Get y'all asses out of here. Sorry, guys.
And I too say boo. I say boo to the man who said I was a poor man's bad lip reading. That's fucking bullshit. How you like me now, punk? Worst, the Saints were without Andres Pete, Alvin Kamara. Technically, they were down 7 starters on offense in this game. Technically, though, it was their run defense that forgot to show up. Eagles run game, 242 rushing yards against the Saints' stout run defense. Jalen Hurts became the nicest Eagles QB with his 69 rushing yards and the first Eagles QB to ever rush for 3 touchdowns in a single game. Philly has really figured something out in the last few weeks, rushing for over 1,000 yards in the last 5 games. I don't know if it's too late for them to make a playoff push, but they've got something good going on with that running game. Worst, seeing Darius Slay embarrass Teddy Bridgewater, current Broncos QB, last week, and then this week embarrassing former Broncos QB Trevor Siemian with his pick 6. Ravens beat Bears, best. Andrews giveth and Andrews taketh away. He had the sweet one-hander, but he also had this two-hander that he dropped right back into Gibson's hands for the interception. Worst, after Justin Fields left the game with a rib injury, Darnell Mooney made Andy Dalton look like a god in the stat sheet with a 60-yard touchdown catch and run on a screen. And then, with the game in the balance, Andy Dalton goes deep to Marquise Goodwin for the touchdown on 4th and 11 to give the Bears the improbable lead with 1:41 left in the game. Best Benchwarmer Brew alert, Tyler Huntley is not as good as Lamar Jackson, but the Ravens' ability to win in the final seconds is contagious. And credit Huntley for finding an open Sammy Watkins on 3rd and 12 under pressure to set up the game-winning touchdown to Devontae Freeman. And just like in Super Mario, Bowser ended this one by crushing the man in red. Bengals versus Raiders, best. Jamar Chase got into the end zone for the 8th time this year, while Joe Mixon went off out of the backfield, rushing for a $123 and 2 tutties, including the 20-yard scamper that put the Raiders away in the 4th quarter. Like all 3 afternoon games, this one was pretty boring, but just for almost the entire game. Best, Joe Mixon might win the Angry Runs Award this week. I see nothing wrong with giving a man like Joe Mixon an award with angry in the title, by the way. Worst, this Derek Carr interception. So bad the defender caught it, fumbled, and had time to recover his own fumble without any repercussions. Worst, the Raiders have lost 3 straight since starting 5-2 and have yet to win since the Henry Ruggs incident earlier this month. And now the Raiders can't even close out a loss correctly, gifting the Bengals 3 extra points after old mother Sam Hubbard scooped up the fumble here that Carr put on the ground in the final minutes. Cardinals versus Seahawks, best. Colt McCoy tossing his 2nd Zach Ertz touchdown after dropping the snap. It kind of feels like something good always happens after a drop snap, like the quarterbacks have less time to think and operate on instincts alone. Best, Tyler Lockett went off against the Cardinals secondary, reeling in 4 balls for 115 yards, but 0 touchdowns. Russell Wilson has not been good since injuring his finger, and I'm not sure anything outside a Christmas miracle can save Seattle's season. Best, Colt McCoy converting 2 third downs on his game-winning-ish drive. The Cardinals eventually scored, and Colt McCoy threw for over 300 yards for the first time since the Obama administration. Cowboys versus Chiefs, worst. Clyde Edwards-Helaire got dinged for this disgusting act. Parents, make sure to cover your children's eyes before you watch this. Mama, did he really point at that man? Yes, son. Mama, can I still point at people? Yeah, son. The NFL has stricter rules than we do here at home. It was the second taunting penalty, though, that had fans out of their seats. Rashad Fenton literally had his helmet ripped off his head via a face mask by the man named the opposite of what the Cowboys did. Good win. Face mask, you see, in the NFL is a huge no-no. And after this kerfuffle, on the sideline, winded down, Fenton was jazzed. His head wasn't ripped from his fucking body, and he pointed up at the scoreboard, or shot the scoreboard with a fake gun. And will probably be punished more harshly than Frank Clark, who had issues with real guns. Eventually, though, the refs huddled up and called the face mask and ruled offsetting penalties. But what I couldn't help notice was that the officials were more worried, more focused on calling the taunting penalty than they were about throwing the flag for, the thing that can actually cause a player physical harm. That's fucked up, NFL. It's why I made an entire video this weekend about how to fix the NFL officiating problem. You can click here to watch it if you want. Worst, Kansas City seals the game with a fake field goal punt. Literally the lamest way to end any game ever. You fake an already lame play with an even lamer play? That's like me saying my favorite way to pass the time is reading Twilight books, only to reveal that I put the cover of Twilight books to hide the fact that I'm reading the Bible. And finally, Sunday Night Football, Steelers, Chargers, best, Cam Heyward, more like Cam Haymaker. This tummy punch was so vicious, Jared Goff's obliques felt it. Worst, I was actually thinking about showing Big Ben some respect, because he looked crisp early in this game. Then he severely underthrew an open Chase Claypool here. Somehow the Steelers went from having a surefire touchdown with any QB not on the Steelers roster to scoring 0 points from within the 10. Best Austin Eckler churning out 4 total touchdowns in this game, and still only being the second best running back on his team next to Justin Herbert, fully loaded. Herbert had 92 rushing yards in this one, plus 382 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. First player in NFL history with over 350 passing yards and 90 rushing yards. And LA still needed a blown Steelers coverage on Mike Williams to win this game. The Chargers are so good they can put up 41 points on the Steelers defense. But the Chargers are so bad they made the Steelers offense look good. The Steelers scored 27 points in the fourth quarter and Steelers lost by 4. 27 points in the fourth quarter. A blocked punt, and the Steelers couldn't even get within a field goal. Boom! Thanks for watching the best and worst here on That's Good Sports. Make sure you check out my NFL officiating video. I fixed all of the officiating problems, and it's perfect. Literally, I missed nothing. And if you disagree, you're wrong. So enjoy being wrong.